Oh, but Rapatopoulos, have you tried Unity yet? You should play Unity. Unity has the best parkour. You shut up! I know about Assassin's Creed Unity, okay? I know. I was there on the day it came out, man. I was there. I was out here doing it. I've been doing it for the whole damn time. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize for opening this video with such hostility, but AC Unity brings out conflicting emotions in me in a way that no other game can. I sat down the other day and played Unity for about an hour, and I did so with the purest of intentions. I had only one goal: to have fun and enjoy myself, and while this seems like it may be a simple enough goal, this game does its best to try to get under my skin. Since my mind has been corrupted by the content creation virus, I obviously recorded the whole thing, and much to my surprise, there were a lot of pretty cool clips that came out of it. So I figured rather than just dump 20 minutes of gameplay on you, I would take this opportunity to reflect on the complicated legacy of Assassin's Creed Unity, so I could share some of my thoughts about the game and the impact it's left on AC as a whole, and talk a bit about what could have been if things had gone just a little bit differently for this game when it came out almost 10 years ago. Also, I think it's worth mentioning all this gameplay was recorded on the PS4 version of Unity as it exists today, so no fancy mods or fixes or anything like that to make it work better. So, hang out with me for a bit, we could watch some cool gameplay, and let's talk about Assassin's Creed Unity, the most polarizing entry in Ubisoft's greatest franchise. Oh, I almost forgot the most important part. Welcome to the Rapatopoulos Show. Now, I'm a nostalgic type of fella, so in order to unpack these conflicting feelings that I have, I hope you don't mind if I go back to the beginning. Like most Assassin's Creed games, I first played Unity right at launch in November of 2014. We were almost exactly 1 year into the PS4 console generation, and Ubisoft decided to launch a brand new Assassin's Creed experience on a totally revamped engine, completely leaving the previous generation behind. Well, not completely, I guess. They did simultaneously release Rogue for those who hadn't yet secured a new console, which was really nice of them. It's even more clear now how ambitious Ubisoft was with Unity when you compare it to their modern approach. Look at Mirage, which is a game that I love, by the way, but it came out 3 years into the PS5 console generation, and it uses the same tech we've been using since 2017's Origins, and we won't have a true next-gen AC experience until Red allegedly ushers in a new engine later this year, 4 entire years into the new console generation. It just goes to show how hard Ubisoft was pushing to give us something cutting edge. Maybe they were pushing a little bit too hard, but I'll get more into that later. It's no secret that Unity was a bit of a mess at launch, even more so on console than PC, or at least that's what I'm told. The game suffered from numerous bugs and glitches, and oh, there's one now, look at that. Wow, I'm one of the gargoyles, isn't that cool? How's that for immersion? I literally just became part of the architecture. Oh my god, Oh, what's up, fellas? How we doing? Okay, anyways, all these bugs and glitches that plagued the city made our time in Paris one of suffering and misery. Okay, maybe I'm being a bit dramatic. I was 19 at the time, and I remember having a great time playing Unity, actually. Granted, I was a very casual gamer back then, and much like my recent Unity gameplay session, I just wanted to have fun. And since my love for the franchise already ran deep at this point, I was willing to overlook many of the game's technical flaws in order to do just that, have fun and enjoy the game for what it was. When it worked, the parkour was truly a massive step up from anything we had ever seen, or at least that's what I thought at the time. The city was beautiful and felt so alive. The crowds were massive and riots that filled the streets were incredibly immersive. Each NPC seemed to be doing more than just wandering around. They were actually doing things. They seemed to have actual plans. The overall atmosphere was a clear step up from all previous entries. The depth in cosmetic customization and the introduction of outfits having stats was really cool, and squatting up with friends in co-op and coordinating outfits to look like a makeshift French revolutionary gang was an absolute blast. Again, when it worked. Overall, I really enjoyed my time with Unity, partially because of my age at the time, and partially because I was willing to overlook some of the game's issues in order to really appreciate a next-gen Assassin's Creed that was really pushing the boundaries of what a game could be. But most people didn't share my optimistic opinions of Unity. The game was torched by both critics and fans, and when Ubisoft tried to defend themselves, their excuses only managed to further dig themselves into a hole. It would become the go-to game to shit on and would greatly damage the image of Assassin's Creed as a whole. It wouldn't be for another few years before I revisited the original games and fell in love with the more technical side of movement in the Ezio trilogy, and that made me question what I had experienced with Unity in 2014. And strangely enough, my realization that Unity wasn't everything that I thought it was almost perfectly aligned with this massive cultural shift in the Assassin's Creed community. A mass resurgence of players claiming that Unity was the absolute pinnacle of Assassin's Creed, possibly the greatest game in the entire franchise. It was bizarre to see my own opinion completely swap positions with the public narrative surrounding the game, but I understood where they were coming from. If I was so captivated by this game, even in its broken state back when it released, it makes sense that a new generation of players would find it and love it just the same, especially now that it was fixed up and a bit more polished than the version I originally played. But after spending so much time learning the inner workings of the original parkour system, returning to Unity was extremely frustrating. All the precision and responsiveness of the old games is dramatically reduced, and the end result is just not satisfying to me. Leo K and I briefly talked about this on his show, and he summed it up perfectly, and I'll just let him speak for himself here.
And then now, especially since I've become so much more in love with like the original system and all the control that offers, going back to Unity, I'm just like, oh my god.
You can't unsee it. Yeah, you're like, give me back all the things you robbed from me. Like,
You can't unsee it. I think that for a lot of players who spend time trying to master movement in the old games, it's very hard to move on to something like Unity that trades off that precision and accuracy for something that may look more fluid and flashy, but at the sake of much of your creative control. I think that I personally play up my disdain for Unity online. A lot of people think that I hate Unity now, but that's not true. I have had and always will have a soft spot for Unity in my heart. But it's frustrating to not be able to talk about AC2 parkour or Mirage without people trying to shift the conversation to Unity is better, and I think that's where a lot of my disdain for the game comes from. I think the most frustrating thing, at least for me, about Unity's release and its current reception is the what if factor. What if Ubisoft decided to delay the game 6 months to fix some of the issues? What if Unity released in a more polished and smooth state? What if people loved Unity then the way they do now? I think it undoubtedly would have changed the direction of the franchise, and I think it wouldn't have pushed Ubisoft to go down the RPG path as an emergency reboot to try to save Assassin's Creed from certain death. I imagine we would have seen them go even deeper into the parkour in these games that followed instead of dumbing it down for Syndicate and basically throwing it away in Origins. I imagine we would have seen them continue to innovate on these living, breathing cities that we see in Unity and Syndicate instead of exchanging them for massive open worlds of empty space. Even Mirage's Baghdad, while beautiful and, in my opinion, architecturally superior to Unity, can't compete with the overall atmosphere of Paris and its inhabitants due to sharing so much DNA with the RPG games that followed Unity. The strange, poetic tragedy of the situation is how the departure from the original Assassin's Creed formula, which was likely a result of Unity's terrible launch and poor reception, is what eventually funneled everyone right back to Unity a few years later, when everyone began to recognize it as the last true Assassin's Creed game. It's funny how things come full circle sometimes. During this session that you're watching now, I actually had a lot of fun playing. I accomplished the goal that I set out for myself, to enjoy Assassin's Creed Unity, and at the end of the day, I think that's what's most important. I think as hardcore fans of anything, it's hard to not get swept up in all the details and nitpick things that we don't like about a game or a movie or whatever it may be. Unity isn't perfect, neither is AC2, neither is Mirage. There's room for improvement across the board, but as I get older, I realize that life is short. Far too short to get upset or caught up in the small details of everything. I find it much more important and satisfying to focus on the things that I do enjoy about a game than all the negatives. That's the approach I took when I started making Mirage videos, and as a result, I learned that there's a ton of enjoyment to be found and quite a bit of mechanical depth, even in a buffed up version of the RPG parkour system. Video games are meant to be fun. I just want to enjoy my time with them. So, I think that's about all I have to say about Unity right now. I don't know what else there is to cover. I hope this helps you understand why I don't really make a lot of Unity content. I just don't play it that much. I probably would play it a lot more if I had a decent PC and I could get in on these mods. I would like to try the ACU fixes and see what that's all about, because honestly I have no idea. But, you know, maybe someday I will acquire the hardware necessary to do that, and I will make a sweet video for you. Well, I trimmed down this gameplay as much as I could to make it short for the video, but there's a few more things in here that I want to show. So I'm just going to let the rest of this video play, and I will shut up, and you can watch it if you want, and if you don't, that's fine too. Either way, thanks for watching. I love you.
Jesus! Cynic! Come near me, you're a dead man! Oh, that's not good. No chance you're passing me, you bastard! Oh, shit. Focus. Focus! Traitor, die!
Give me a name!
Mais que diable se passe? Voilà des zombies et de la pire sorte.